Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now, of course, food prices have been escalating globally on account of a myriad of factors, including continuing disruptions to global supply chains due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, increases in shipping and freight, among others. Locally, customers have been feeling the brunt of these increases, with some even falling victims to price gouging. And so joining me to discuss ways to address this issue is Director of Consumer Guidance and Protection at the Consumer Affairs Division, Mrs. Claudette Jordan-John, Director of Research and Project Management, also from Consumer Affairs Division, Ms. Feroza Matthew, and joining us virtually is the Executive Director of the Trinidad and Tobago Fair Trade Commission, Mr. Bevan Narayan Singh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on the Now Morning Show.
Good morning, Kimberly.
I love how the Consumer Affairs sent everybody this morning to, to talk about, how these prices have been affecting our customers. And so I really, really do appreciate that. I mean, well, let's start first. I'll start with you, Ms. Matthew. I mean, what role, if any, does the division play in controlling these prices?
Okay. Well, first of all, we do not control prices. As you would know, we subscribe to a free market economy in Trinidad and Tobago, where supply and demand actually determine price, right? So our role is more one of an advisory nature, where the Consumer Affairs Division has a very robust public education program. And actually, I could ask Mrs. Jordan to speak up to that, and then I will talk some more about what we do.
Okay, so our public education drive is to ensure that consumers, that the information is readily put at the hands of consumers so that they can make more informed purchasing decisions, and their purchasing decisions impact demand, so it decreases demand. So we would have like lectures, outreach programs. We have information on our Facebook page. We also have a series that we recently started, Consumer Talk. It's a live session where we discuss a particular topic, so that members of the public out there who are interested in having any lectures done, schools or public or groups or whatever, they can contact us, and we would facilitate some education programs, to assist them.
Now, when you say information, what sort of information does the division put out there for consumers to be able to make better purchasing choices?
A myriad of information. Well, the major things we would put out is your rights and responsibilities as consumers. But in light of this situation, we'd put things about, budgeting, how you go about, managing the resources you have available to you. And, different little tips how you could plan your menus, how you can get the best for your buck.
Of course. Now, Mr. Narayan Singh, I want to bring you in here because I know that the Fair Trading Commission also has a part to play. So what is the role of the Fair Trade Commission in this entire discussion that we're having?
Okay, and thank you, Kimberly, and good morning to your viewers and the listening public as well. Well, just to give you an idea of what and who we are, the Fair Trading Commission is an independent statutory body, and we are responsible for implementing the Fair Trading Act. And what do I mean by that? Our role is to promote, protect, and maintain competition in the market. So I've heard what you have spoken about and what colleagues from the Ministry of Trade have also spoken about. But our objective is to really prevent anti-competitive conduct and ensure that legitimate business enterprises have an equal opportunity to participate in the economy. And by that, we try to investigate and take action if necessary against anti-competitive practices such as abuse of dominance, restraint of trade, collusion, price fixing, and unfair or deceptive trade practices. We also have an advocacy role as well too. We try to diffuse and publish information about competition to raise awareness of the benefits of competition, and we also advise government about situations in the market and what can be done to create a fairer and more competitive market.
So you basically advise the public about what's going on with businesses and competition, or could a consumer, for example, reach out to you personally, or do you prefer that they go to the Consumer Affairs if they have an issue?
Well, the role of the Consumer Affairs Division and the role of the Fair Trading Commission complement each other. So both of us really have the same objective at the end of the day to promote consumer welfare. But we do it at more at the business end, while they do it more directly with the consumers, as how my the officials in the Consumer Affairs Division have just articulated.
Right.
So indeed, if there's an issue with respect to business, with respect to business practice, a consumer is indeed able to bring it to our attention. But obviously, it'll be much easier for a business to raise that, because they could make a complaint or raise an issue with us with respect to their ability to compete in the marketplace. And if that is being hindered in any way by the practices of an existing entity in the market, whether that is because they are price fixing, they are making it difficult for them to succeed in the market, or any other possible means that would be constitute an anti-competitive practice for the purposes of the Fair Trading Act.
Right. Now I'm going to bring it back to either Ms. Matthew or Mrs. Jordan. John can take this question. So there was a report from the central bank that said food inflation eased to 6.6% from 7.6% in October, partly due to the zero rating of the value-added tax on additional items from November 2021. And I was just wondering if you could remind viewers about what items has that zero rating. And there was a discussion about flour, because some people were saying flour yes, flour no. Can we just remind us about that list?
Yes, well, I will speak to that. Flour has been zero rated. It's not one of those on the newly zero rated listing, right? Since 2016, flour has been on the list.
This
right?
is all types of flour, wheat and white?
The wheat and all-purpose.
Right.
Yes. Flour. Yes. Right. So you spoke of the newly zero rated one. So this came about via legal notice 259 in October of 2021, and we did, as a division, conduct a survey just prior to when these prices
November.
Yeah, we did it at the end of October and then again into November to monitor that these prices, the changes had been made.
Right.
And then again at the end of May. But I should go back a bit. So the division, that's the research arm of it now. So we conduct a monthly retail price survey of about 118 basic food items throughout Trinidad. And it's also conducted on the Consumer Affairs Unit by the THA, right? So of these items, most of them are already zero rated. But when you spoke about the newly zero rated ones, some of them, I should tell you. So some of the older ones that are already on the list are like the brown sugar, the brown rice, the powdered milk, corned beef, salt, fish, things like that. And on the newer list, things came out like the white sugar, then all of these oils like the soybean oil, the canola oil, the coconut oil that people utilize a lot, right? And what we have actually observed from the surveys, as I told you, that we conduct, is that the prices, though they have increased, they have, the zero rating measure seems to have slowed down the increase of the prices. Yeah, over the 6-7 month period.
Okay, but if there is an increase in price, you will still see the increase in price,
yes,
regardless of the zero.
We will see the increase. And I just wanted to speak to you spoke about the flour just now. So again, we had contacted, we conduct the survey at about 40 supermarkets, and we would have contacted many of these establishments in light of the impending rise. Yes. And it was found that the majority of them had not raised the prices at that time. And rather, many of them said that only when the old stock was depleted would the price rise.
Right.
So,
but to me, because what I've been hearing in the public domain, there may have been some supermarkets that didn't increase the price, but they would have moved the price to other products, and so customers were still seeing that sort of price increase in their bills after they finish shopping. But what I wanted to ask as well, because on the flip side to that, there were also some supermarkets who, although they had it in stock, when the announcement came out for the increase in retail prices, they did in fact increase their prices. And so if a consumer is paying particular attention to their bills and they have the examples of how that price changed even before the announcement was made, is there a way for them to bring this information to the consumer division and say, listen, this supermarket is price gouging, what can we do about it?
Well, we don't really want to go so far as to say price gouging.
Right.
They might have seen an increase, yes, and this is where the consumer education comes in. So where we will tell people to try to make the best of their money, look around. So they have the option now whether to buy or not buy. So to answer your question, if they feel aggrieved, if they see this and it really, really high, they can contact the division at our 800 number, 800-4277, or consumer on our Facebook page at Consumer Affairs TT, or email us at consumeraffairs@gov.tt.
Right.
But it is important for consumers to remember that they have to help shape this imported inflation and inflation generally by trying to shift their consumption patterns and behaviors. Now, we can't tell people don't buy. It doesn't make sense. So what we can do is ask to shift. So incrementally, this can help the individual. So if you are accustomed buying like maybe a whole bale of flour, if you want, you could buy less and shift to the alternatives that we are seeing so much about in the root crop.
Right.
But we can't tell people don't buy, or if you are accustomed buying foreign fruits and vegetables, if you can shift to buying locally or buy less. So incrementally, we can see some change and a reduction in the food inflation.
Of course. Ms. Matthew, it seems as if you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I wanted to add, Kimberly, when you spoke about consumers looking at their bills, I want to say that the focus, the whole aim of conducting these surveys is for in the interest of the consumer at the end of the day. So we produce price publications, right, every month from the supermarkets. We also do a poultry price publication. Then on a quarterly basis, we do a hardware publication, and we've started some work in the pharmaceutical industry as well. And we are hoping that consumers will use the information. The price publications are available on the Ministry of Trade's website, on the Consumer Affairs Facebook page, and they're printed quarterly in the newspapers. Right. So as Mrs. Jordan John was saying, we're really stressing that it's the right and the responsibility of the consumer to shop around and to make informed choices.
Now, when you say you publish the price, you mean the price of the items?
Yes, on the basic basket of goods.
The basic basket for the items,
yeah, 118 items. We go to about 22 areas, 40 supermarkets every month.
And you said that is every month you do it, and we can access this on the Ministry of Trade and Industry's site.
Yes.
And the Consumer Affairs Division Facebook page, you can get that information there. And this pricing survey is also done in Tobago, via the Consumer Affairs Unit in Tobago.
So what I'm hearing is that the prices may increase, but it's up to the consumer to make the choices to reduce their bill. So it's not a matter of decreasing the price on this or removing the VAT on that. It's how you basically choose to spend your dollar.
Yes, as Feroza said, we subscribe to a free market economy. So whatever happens globally affects us here. So we can't really say we're going to reduce the price. However, we can provide you with information to see how you can monitor your bills and make whatever decision. So if you can't buy all of one thing, you buy less, or you either forgo it for 1 month. You do things to help you manage what your budget, your money.
Now, Mr. Narayan Singh, I haven't forgotten you. I just wanted you to bring you back into the conversation here. Now, I know that as Mrs. Jordan John has been saying, it is a free market, and of course, the businesses are going to choose the price that's best for them. But can't the fair trade at least encourage businesses to price it at a certain affordable rate for consumers to buy?
Well, we can't really do that because as Ms. Jordan and Ms. Matthew had indicated, this is a fair market where we would let the forces of demand and supply choose what is I guess right for in terms of the market. However, we do monitor prices, whether it be information from the Consumers Affairs Division or from the University of the West Indies, the Central Bank, the Central Statistical Office. So our objective is to really closely monitor prices to determine what are the causes for these prices and these rising prices. Now, you have mentioned, Kimberly, reasons why um, prices may be rising. The war in Ukraine, post-COVID situation, high energy prices. But we also have to determine that whether these prices, particularly in Trinidad and Tobago, are the cause of anything that is anti-competitive. In other words, taking advantage of an already difficult situation. And that is why we constantly we do send out public notices encouraging encouraging the public to know that they do have choices and they can choose other options if need be, yes, but not force them. But what we try to also do is that we try to communicate to the business community that we have the power to investigate anti-competitive activity, and we require at times certain information to assist us in doing so. In fact, we're actually having a meeting at the end of July with stakeholders in the supply chain, in the maritime industry supply chain, to really determine what are the factors that are contributing to higher prices. And indeed, we will, at that meeting, stress as well that, of course, there is the option to price to maximize your profits, but also the fact of the matter is that we want to ensure that the consumer has the widest amount of choice, the most competitive prices, and to encourage that type of activity. So we want to assure the public that we will be monitoring, we continually monitor prices, and the objective is to ensure that what is being charged in Trinidad and Tobago reflects the market and the market of supply and demand, and there's nothing anti-competitive. There's not collusion, there's not price fixing, there's not any abuses of dominant positions. As you know, we do have some large enterprises in Trinidad and Tobago. So when we do examine prices, we have to ensure that nothing, there's no exploitation, so to speak, that is happening because of entity has this degree of market power.
All right, thank you, Mr. Narayan Singh. I have one more question because I know we're almost out of time, and Ms. Matthew or Mrs. Jordan John, you can take it. Chicken. Quickly, we've seen the price of chicken increase over the weeks, and some of it is due to differences in how the chicken is weighed. I was reading something about live weight versus dress weight. Can you explain the two and discuss, if possible, which one is better?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that the increase in the price of chicken the pricing scheme is not responsible for the increase that we've seen, right? Rather, these have been attributed to, again, the global market forces, the supply being, threatened and prices escalating of all the commodities within the industry, like things that go into the feed, Ukraine and Russia being major soybean and wheat producers. Then you have the chemicals, the fertilizers, and so going up. So this is what has attributed to the rise in price. With regard to the two pricing methods, so yes, there's a live weight method where you pay a price per pound of chicken. Say chicken is $8 a pound, and they add a pluck and gut fee to it. The pluck and gut fee might be $12, $13, $14, whatever. So let's say a 6-pound chicken would cost you 8 by 6, right? 48 plus the pluck and gut fee. The dress weight price is the price you pay per bird. So the processing cost is included in that, right? No, we have not. We do not say that there's any preferred method. It's what suits the customer. Again, what the consumer, would rather. What makes better sense for them.
Of course.
Right?
Well, Ms. Matthew, Mrs. Jordan John, we could carry on this conversation for the entire morning, but unfortunately we're out of time. But thank you so much for coming in. Mr. Narayan Singh, thank you so much for coming in as well and just sharing about what the Fair Trade Commission does and its entire process about, making sure that we have those affordable prices in the market. So thank you so much for joining us. Just remember that if you have any concerns, you can call the Consumer Affairs Division at 800-4277. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take take a break and be right back. Stay with us.